Hey YouTube, here going to talk about things that are going on in the world around us, and let's just jump right into it. I am, I've had it up to here with political doublespeak, and it's getting more and more and more and more and more ridiculous. Honestly, can't even to some extent stomach it anymore. Cause it's just absurd. Absurd. And then, I live in California, so every commercial break, I see these insane ads, like political ads, like, if you don't vote to turn down this recall, people, it's a life and death situation, you're going to be killing people. And just to comment on that really quick before I really get into the meat of this video, California has a law as to where if a governor is going to be recalled, his opponent's budget is capped at $9 million. Yet, the governor himself has an unlimited budget for whatever ad campaigns he wants to do. And he can use taxpayers' money to fund his own re-election campaign or maintaining election campaign. So what we have in California, especially in the Bay Area and Los Angeles, is every single commercial break in prime time is some of these ridiculous ads that have no basis in fact. And it's just exhausting, and it makes me really want to leave California, and that's, trust me, one of hundreds of reasons I've thought of about leaving this state. But specifically, what I wanted to get into, like, the political doublespeak is what's going on with this current presidential administration. Afghanistan is still a mess, and our current commander-in-chief has completely abandoned all efforts to save people. And today he finally did a speech about it. But his first 3/4 of the speech is all about, like, how great his new infrastructure plan is, and how much money went into it, and people he should be thanking for it, and how grateful you should be to me as president of the United States passing this infrastructure bill to take care of you. Meanwhile, no mention of the lots of people stranded in Afghanistan. And then it gets to Afghanistan to talk about it, and then he'll just spend a few minutes talking about how many people have been evacuated, not mentioning whether or not they're American citizens, and how great it is that all these people are being evacuated from Afghanistan. Yet he's the reason why they had to be evacuated in the first place. But worse yet, much worse yet, Jen Psaki goes on and completely lies. And here's just exactly what she said. Where's the sound? Oh.
Most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it to happen, by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded. Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home, and I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Okay, and then follow
our materials and equipment.
You should not
does the president have a sense that
relent at that point. Oh my gosh. He relented. He's like, oh, so you're saying that they're not going to be stranded. No, they are stranded right now. There are tens of thousands of Americans right now in Afghanistan who were told by the embassy, if you're not here within half an hour, you're stuck. And then the embassy later deleted the tweet But what's a lot more frustrating than that is then they were told by Biden himself, just go to the airport, we'll get you out. And then what happens between here or whatever these Americans are in the airport? The Taliban blockaded every road to the airport. So how are they going to get to the airport? And then the Biden administration then says, don't come to the airport. Just wait till we can come to you. And then they say, no, come to the airport. So now what you have at the airport are soldiers from other countries coming and saving people. And there's all this traumatic footage of like babies being hoisted over barbed wire and being handed to soldiers. And people, we're expected to believe Jen Psaki when she says Americans aren't stranded. Excuse me? Like, do you think we, the American people, are that stupid? And then Joe Biden has the gall after his speech in Afghanistan. We've been waiting for a week plus to hear from the president as to what to do about our citizens in Afghanistan. Really quick note on this. When a dozen people were captured and held hostage by terrorists in the Middle East in the 1970s, people lost their mind. And it was an international crisis, and it made Jimmy Carter appear to be one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States. Joe Biden is doing that times thousands, tens of thousands of Americans right now potentially in a hostage crisis. Yet we're not supposed to question it. And when we are, we're being lectured by the likes of Jen Psaki for even coming up with honest criticism of what is actually happening. And pardon me, I was just looking off screen because I'm on two monitors and I want to show you some images. Here we go. Here's the babies being hoisted over. Literally. This isn't just one baby. This isn't just like one. This is happening like multiple children. Could you imagine? By the way, could you imagine being the parent of a child? And many of you probably don't have children, but could you imagine birthing your child, raising your child from being nothing into like a living being, and having to stay up all night? If you're in Afghanistan, imagine in the hot summers and the cold winters, and especially in a place with such scarce resources, having to work your ass off every single day to keep this child alive. And then when it comes to your country now being under terroristic rule of the Taliban, having to make the decision to give your child away to American or whatever country this is, Marines, to for a better life for them, knowing that likely you will never see your child again, even if you spent 9 months growing that child in your womb, or helped your wife along the way, if you were the husband or male heir to that child. In an instant, just to have to make that decision to save your child. And we have a president who, when being pressed on it in a CBS interview, who says, what do you think about the people falling out of their planes? And then Biden says, well, that was 4 days ago. Excuse me, you can't stop talking about what happened on the 6th of the first month of 2021. But you are going to get grumpy and talk about people falling off of airplanes and say that was only that was a long time ago. Let's forget about that. 4 days ago. I literally, like, look at this. Just look at this. Airport is surrounded by Taliban militants who brutally beat people for trying to enter the airport. People who are bringing their, are following what Joe Biden has told the American people to do. And guess what? If American passports are found, often, this is just being reported by the Associated Press, but if American passports are found, there have been executions. Public executions in broad daylight. So, a lot of people are blaming Trump for this. And it's like, Trump had a different plan than Biden's plan. Trump's plan had different steps. Biden completely abandoned that plan. Obama and Trump both, by the way, got elected on the promise that they were going to pull out of Afghanistan. Obama listened to his advisors and didn't pull out of Afghanistan. Trump listened to his advisors and instead of pulling out, did a scale down, and it worked actually kind of nicely. His plan was to pull out in the second term, which didn't happen. But Biden had the choice to not follow that, and actually didn't even follow anything. He just did his own thing, and look where we are. Now this stupid blame game is happening. So I just, before we conclude here, I just want to share, there's a couple of examples of ridiculous hypocrisy. I shared the wrong screen. Let me stop share. That was presented. We've already talked about it, but when Kamala Harris was asked about whether or not she'd take Trump's vaccine, she said, I'll never take Trump's vaccine unless it's advised by scientists. And then when it comes to Joe Biden's administration, here they are promoting Trump's vaccine all over the place. And now in a lot of states and cities, it's freaking required to do anything. New York City, for example, if you want to go have basic human activity, now you're going to need that. And this just reminds me of a couple stances that were taken. And see if I can get to the right window here. Yeah, well, that's what I was just talking about. This was posted on this month, 2020. Beware the fake Trump thing in the arm. And now, when is that? This month, last week. Who is ready for the third booster shot? And it's like, come on. Let's see if we can find. Oh, by the way, I can't really talk about this. But, yeah, look at the crowd for Biden's town hall. And this was Trump last week in Alabama. Come on. I don't want to talk about that yet. That'll be a whole nother video. Here's another example of hypocrisy on what we were just talking about, thing in the arm. Trump is taking a page from Putin's playbook, trying to bully the FDA into making a blah 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 available for stage 3 testing. Before stage 3 testing is complete, he will kill us all. And then the day of the confirmation, let it rain, vaccine mandates. And I'm just going to put this on the screen. You guys can read it for yourself. Yep. It was supposed to be this date. Yep. Yes, we are. We are the guinea pigs. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, this is a good point too about this whole hypocrisy about this whole thing. Remember how harsh Trump was in the how harsh again Trump had it from the media? He couldn't have kafefe without the media talking about it for a week nonstop. And he made one phone call and it was impeach him. But then Biden leaves 10,000 U.S. citizens plus, by the way, behind in Kabul. That's fine. That's okay. And I'm looking for one specific point that I wanted to make. Yes, that's another video. Man, I thought I posted it here. But let's just end this one on how cringe. To the Joe Biden as president, how much of an idiot he is. He posted about Hurricane Henry. To those in Hurricane Henry's path, don't forget that you may need to seek shelter while we're still battling COVID-19 and the Delta variant. Wear a mask and try to observe social distancing. And to anyone across the country, don't get caught by the next storm. Get the thing on the arm now. And here's why I said Biden trying to outdumb himself again. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I can't believe people are falling for it. And there are... I'll just show this because I'm going to have a whole nother video on this. But here are the memes on the left. Why are the Republicans more upset about an attack on Afghanistan's capital than an attack on the U.S. capital? Because one involves 25 million women losing their right to have a career and get an education, and perhaps millions of women being sold into sex slavery in Afghanistan. The other is an incident that occurred on a date early in the year that was the first conservative violent protest in a long time, whereas we in the United States had hundreds of violent Democrat or left-leaning protests for all of 2020, which involved deaths. There were people beaten, there were people shot, there were people run over in these other events, but because it's at the U.S. Capitol, it becomes an issue. And again, it is completely normal to the left that we had a president come in and they just built a giant wall around D.C. I can't really talk more about it. I know I want to get into it more. I've laid a lot of seeds in this video, and I really hope this stays up. But the point is, Donald Trump could do no right by the media. Joe Biden is really, really, really pushing the limits of his good graces by the media. But I think they're finally just not defending him anymore. I mean, Boris Johnson yesterday was overheard publicly saying that calling Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, and UK Parliament is now holding Biden in contempt, meaning if Biden were to go over to UK's Parliament, he can't speak. There's so much more I want to say, and I'm pumping the brakes because I know what platform I'm on. But future videos to come, more meme-related stuff. Anyways, that's it for me on this one. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.